One of the things that I took away from your book is yes, I am the perfect parent for my two daughters. And, you know, we often as parents get into this vicious cycle of comparing ourselves to other parents. I know I've done it. So and so is doing this, so and so is doing that. And, it's just very incredibly hard not to do that until you get to that realization that I'm doing the best I can at this moment for my child. And one of the tools that you talk about is honoring yourself or honorable parenting. And on page 33, I wanted to read a segment of your book that really touched me. We get no awards for parenthood, even when we do it well. It's not something we get paid for. It's a voluntary position, and the volunteering for a lifetime of anything deserves a standing ovation. But to volunteer for a lifetime of responsibility for raising another human being, now that is worth honoring again and again and again. The only one who understands the depth of that kind of dedication is a parent, you. Can you give advice to the people listening who are parents who get into this vicious cycle of comparing yourself to other parents and how to shift that into honoring you, the individual person?
So there are two pieces to honorable parenting. It's accept and respect. And in the accept and respect, you accept and respect your own differences and those of others, be it your child or be it your neighbor or your friend. If we accept that we are all different, just that simple acceptance, and we turn back to that again and again and again. When you see, for example, you find yourself judging yourself, having that affirmation. At the end of each chapter is an affirmation. And there's a purpose for that affirmation because this is the human ride. The more we drift away from our home and our center and our wholeness and holiness of who we are, the clearer the ride back home becomes to us. So what affirmations do is when we get pulled outwards by such comparison, by such judgments, the affirmation brings us back home. This is no different than the process of meditation, the practice of meditation, the practice of mindfulness. And this is why there's such a deep advocacy for me to build this mindfulness muscle in my weekly meditations that I do and all my parenting consultations. I try to advocate mindfulness and meditation is because we learn the nature of our mind. We learn the simple fact that we are going to drift and we have to bring ourselves back. We're going to drift and bring ourselves back home to who we are, to what we are, to how we are. That's the honor part to this human experience through this body, through this unique, a thumbprint, a fingerprint, facial features, DNA, completely unique to 7.2 billion people on this planet, dental records, completely unique. How then are we going to succeed? How then are we going to grow if we compare ourselves to the other? Because we are different. We are different than them. So that accept and respect starts with us. If we accept and respect our differences, then we accept and respect the other person's differences. So what this would look like in action is that feeling arises where you feel like, oh, I want to do that, or I'm not doing that. That feeling right underneath it is a little hole within you, like not feeling like you're good enough, not feeling like you're doing everything, using your breath, bringing yourself back and going, I am the perfect parent for my child. This is my life. This is my child. All the best to them and what they're doing. That's fantastic. Can I learn something from them without feeling like I'm not good enough? If I can learn something from them without feeling like I'm not good enough, perfect. But if that learning is going to take me deeper down the hole, then let me sit here for a little bit longer. And the more we do this, the more we come back home. We don't, after all, go live in somebody else's homes, right? How can we expect to live somebody else's life? We can only expect to learn from them. So find those moments and identify those moments, and it's all inner work. And as we strengthen our core, as we accept ourselves and our differences, then these moments become shorter, and these drifts away from home become quicker. You come back home quickly. The whole point of mindfulness and evolution and consciousness is what? It's raising your own frequency, raising your own understanding. So while we think that we're raising our children, we're actually not just we're not raising them physically. Let's be honest here. They're growing on their own. If we were to plain out disappear from their lives, they would still grow. They would somehow raise themselves, or the people that watch them would raise them. But what raising children is about, raising consciousness. It's about raising the self vibration. And so raising consciousness is about evolution, about being willing to grow, to learn. And this raising consciousness, this evolution, is a vibration. It's a vibe. Being woke is a vibe. So it's not a state of mind. It's a vibe. Because what is a vibe? A vibe is the emission, the resonance of a frequency. What causes that emission and resonance of that frequency is an emotion, is a feeling, it's a thought. It's that EMF coming out, the electromagnetic frequency that we emit through our heart space. So just understanding these dynamics, we start to raise consciousness. We start to raise our own awareness, which means we have gone from this perspective to this perspective. And then keeping ourselves there, this practice comes from mindfulness and meditation, so that when we fall, when we dip deep, when we go into judgment of ourselves and of others, then we know where home is. We bring ourselves back up here again. And this is what the tools will do. They'll have you become aware of what is core, your own perfection, the acceptance of it, how to create connection. And when you falter, when you dip from that, you'll remind yourself and you'll come back home again. So this is the purposes. And then what happens, the more you practice it, the lesser the dips, the more you stay here, and then you'll learn some more, you'll practice some more, then it comes here, then it comes here, and you're raising the roof. Pretty much you're raising the vibe, you're raising the roof of the frequency of where you function, of how you vibe. And that then becomes, through osmosis, your children are breathing that. And then when your children are breathing that, you raise conscious children who then understand this concept of, you made a mistake, that's okay. You're going to dip a little bit. Let's stay up here, right? And you raise them up again. This is what raising children is all about. And this is a beautiful life. And then when you fall in adulthood, like I often do, my children grab me and say, Mama, no, here. This is where we need to be. That's okay that you made this mistake. Let's, and this dance is beautiful, fulfilling, soul satisfying, gratifying. It really defines, because there's constant growth, there's constant change. And this is what the human body thrives on, this ability to constant change. We cannot enter this space without entering relationships.
Beautiful, beautiful explanation.